Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And, of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Quick programming note. This is the last time you can see us this week. Like, right?
That's not true.
No, AEW tonight. Today.
AEW
I meant
tonight,
today. Yeah. I meant today, Wednesday. Is going to be the last time. And then tomorrow we're just going to do Thanksgiving because that's what we do. And then Friday we're just going to take the day off because it's, Thanksgiving. And then Saturday and Sunday, of course, no pay-per-views or anything.
Weekend. Yeah. Taking those days off too.
Exactly. It's weekend. That being said, I might do some stuff over at twitch.tv/MFSteve here. So if you go follow that channel, maybe I'll pop up. No promises. Not entirely sure I'm going to. But I get bored sometimes, and then I want to go stream or something. So that might happen. So there's that. Tomorrow, we will be having some programming at our YouTube channel and our podcast app, or whatever podcast app you use. Bash of the Beach 1996, the formation of the NWO. More importantly, there was a ball sack on a pole match between John Tenta and Big Boss Man. Yeah. So, I mean, that's sort of the seminal event of that particular card, but also the NWO was formed. So,
yeah, I guess that's why that show's noteworthy also.
Yeah, right. Mainly, though, obviously,
that was a ball sack on a pole enormously large pole attached to that ball sack.
Such a meaty pole with that ball sack. It was a bit girthy, too.
It was really long. It was tall.
Yeah,
I don't know they expected anybody to scale it.
And yet, somebody did.
Jimmy Hart did.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Anyways, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Or if you're a patron, patreon.com/Steven Larson, $5 right now. You can watch that right now.
Right now, immediately.
Or listen to it in the podcast realm.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of immediately, I guess it's not quite immediately that John Gargano is going to be a free agent. But it could potentially be very, very soon. So Dave Meltzer recently reported that John Gargano's NXT WWE deal was set to expire December 3rd. But then on last night's edition of NXT, after taking the loss in the North American title triple threat match, he was then added to the men's War Game bout, which of course is happening December 5th. That's 2 days after his contract's supposed to expire.
Is he going to did they forget about this again? Is he going to pull Jeff Jarrett and go to HBK? Be like pony up 300 large?
I don't know, but well, actually, we kind of maybe know now. So, did Gargano sign a new deal with WWE? Well, kind of. Fightful Select reports that Gargano has signed a 1-week extension that'll take him through War Games that end on December 10th. Fightful, by the way, go subscribe to Fightful Select. It's amazing, great stuff. Fightful adds that negotiations between Gargano and WWE on perhaps a long-term deal are ongoing. Of course, this is similar to the Adam Cole situation where his contract was set to expire. He signed a short extension to finish what he was doing, the Kyle O'Reilly feud, and then he left to go to AEW. Now, we don't know if beat for beat John Gargano's story is going to go the same, but it's interesting that he has yet to sign an extension, a new long-term deal. So I don't know. I mean, we've always kind of wondered the NXT veterans, the NXT 1.0 guys. There's a whole team of them in this War Games match now. Are there spots for them in this new NXT 2.0? We saw grizzled young veterans lose last night in pretty quick fashion.
Yeah.
And we speculated, is there a place for them?
To be honest, though, during 1.0, they were never terribly booked all that strong.
They weren't booked all that strong, but
they were always the bridesmaid, those guys.
Yeah, but at least they were a bridesmaid. That means they got some point.
Yeah.
They would in 1.0, they'd beat teams like Briggs and Jensen. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. We've long wondered, what place do the veterans have of NXT in 2.0? I mean, we might find out pretty soon, depending on what Mr. Gargano does. He decides to take his talents to AEW, then he could be a harbinger of things to come, of either as NXT vets contracts expire, either they go elsewhere, maybe some stay, or maybe at some point we're going to see, once they go 100% all in on 2.0, unfortunately, maybe see some releases. I don't know. I'm interested to see how it plays out. And Gargano kind of seems like he's so synonymous with NXT, with NXT 1.0 especially, that if he leaves, I don't mean it's if he leaves, I'd be really shocked if like Kyle O'Reilly sticks around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long Ciampa has left on his deal, but he might move to main.
You think this is a bit of a canary in the coal mine type situation?
Maybe.
Maybe. Like if he goes, you think that it's probably going to be. I don't know. I kind of feel like.
I understand everybody's situation. Let me say this real quick. I understand everybody's situation is different. Like maybe Ciampa feels like, okay, if I'm not going to be in NXT, if I go up to main roster, my prospects are pretty good. You know, I don't know what his
you mean
thinking is.
Gargano?
No, I'm talking about Ciampa.
Okay.
As opposed to Gargano, because if Gargano goes to main roster, I don't know. You know, Vince, historically speaking, I know Gargano is a great underdog. He does great character work. Maybe Vince saw what he did in the way, was impressed by it. I don't know. But given his size, I don't know if Vince would be like, all right, I'm going to push this guy or not.
Well, there are little bits of, number one, I think that Gargano could be, and I don't think for a second that Vince McMahon realizes this. I have no evidence to suggest that. But Gargano could be their replacement for Daniel Bryan
1,000%.
On main roster.
1,000%.
He could be. I don't think I think that would have happened by now if Vince McMahon understood that. I don't think he understands it. I think that what I see now is Scotty 2 Hotty posting up a lengthy notes app explanation for why he's leaving NXT as a backstage producer. He has said, this is only a couple days ago, said at this point, if I continued with NXT 2.0, I'd simply be doing it for the paycheck, and I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. So there does seem to be a backstage shift in sort of just the perception amongst some people anyways. Ciampa is a little bit different because Ciampa really does seem to have embraced the role of Mr. NXT 2.0 guy. I mean, he literally has a shirt that says it. And like when I see matches like with him and Waller yesterday, and it was like a 15-minute match.
It was pretty solid.
It was a longer match, and it seemed like the kind of thing Ciampa really wants to do what he can to get these younger guys over. And I wonder if he has taken that role very much to heart backstage, where he's like, hey, I mean, he's even said he's like halfway through his career. So he sees a lot of time left.
Definitely.
But maybe when he says career, maybe he means part of that is helping the future of the company. I don't know. Maybe he seems to have really embraced it. Gargano is not Mr. NXT 2.0. He's sort of been around. He hasn't been around. I just don't know. On one hand, if WWE really wants to sign him, he literally has a bun in the oven in Candice's oven. He's about to be a dad. That will shift your priorities. If you're looking for stability, and a big paycheck and not have to, hawk your merch on Pro Wrestling Tees and for all I know, get a big paycheck in AEW. I just don't know. But if he likes knowing where his checks are being signed right now, and that's the offer on the table, maybe he'll re-sign long-term with WWE. If he wants a place where his wrestling will be more appreciated, you gotta think that dude's gonna go to AEW. Mm-hmm. Like that would be a no-brainer, because at this point, I'd be shocked if he would take a risk on main roster. Like I don't know that would be where he'd want to go. If they would put the entirety of the way up on main roster, I don't know, maybe, but clearly they're not going to do that. They're never going to do that. So I don't know. It all, honestly, you can't tell what a person's priorities are beyond what you have in front of you. And with Gargano, we really don't have that much in front of us in terms of what does this guy want to do? Does he want to stick around with Ciampa and help build 2.0 and get a pretty hefty paycheck, which he probably would get? Or is he more interested in continuing to build himself up as Johnny Wrestling, in which case WWE is not the place to do that.
Not anymore. No.
He had a cup of coffee on main roster and Vince sent him right back down. You got to think that at that point it was like, oh well, that's it. All right, I'm going to be Mr. NXT. Now NXT is done. This is not NXT. They call it 2.0. You can call it whatever you want, but it ain't what it was 6 months ago, and it ain't going to go back to that.
Nope.
So I don't know. I mean, having a kid changes a lot of things. Wanting to settle down and getting a little bit older in age, even though he's probably only like in his mid 30s or whatever, might change some things as well. It'll be interesting, but that's all I can say. I don't have any prediction because
I don't either.
You just don't know. You really don't.
Yeah, have no idea. And with the recent string of releases, including people who had just been brought up from NXT to the main roster, I don't know if that's going to influence or people's decisions whatsoever. Because it used to be you got brought from NXT and then, you got time to develop. Because obviously it's not like Vince takes what worked for you in NXT and then implements that in the main roster,
Yeah.
Historically speaking, that's a rarity when they actually do that.
And
now
I don't
it seems
even
like
think
you don't even. Sorry, now it doesn't even seem like you have an opportunity to try to flesh out your character on main. Either they see you on main roster, either they think they have something there or they don't, and they make that decision really, really quickly, seemingly.
Even in NXT, it's not as if this shift to 2.0, which we had speculated might be the case, that there would be more continuity between what's happening in 2.0 and main roster. I don't even think I don't even think that's the case. Because you saw that already. You saw that with Von Wagner showing up one random week on SmackDown, and he's just there. And then it's referenced on NXT. Oh, what, you're doing bodyguard work for Adam Pearce? And then this past Friday, he was gone again, right?
Yeah, he wasn't on. Yeah, he wasn't on.
So I don't know what's going on there. What happened this past Friday on SmackDown? Was Pearce not on SmackDown this past week? Yeah, he wasn't he? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Anyways. So, yeah, it remains to be seen. It'll be interesting in a couple of weeks' time what we hear, reports to come out, whether he's staying, whether he's leaving, and what that might mean for the rest of the veterans in NXT. Who knows? It could be nothing. It could not be a harbinger of anything, or it could. I just don't know.
All that being said, I would be legitimately shocked if Kyle O'Reilly signed a new deal with WWE.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I would be like, okay, all right, well, he must love the stability, and he's really into the idea of coaching people backstage. But that being said, given what we see him on screen, I would be floored.
I know.
If he signed like out of it. And I know it's wrestling. You shouldn't be shocked by anything. I'd be floored if he stayed, especially given how much screen time Bobby Fish gets over in AEW. That dude's on every show. Which is kind of shocking too.
They couldn't find anything for him at NXT after the Dispute Era broke up.
I know, and given how many people are in AEW, the fact that Bob Fish finds tons of TV time, I mean, half the time he's getting unprettiered by Christian, but still,
but it's something. He's involved in stories.
Yeah, exactly.
He's involved in stories, and it's better to be involved and be on TV than not, I would imagine. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Several years ago, while dealing with severe anxiety, I learned the importance of talking to a therapist, but I also learned that it can be really difficult to find the right person to talk to. Today, BetterHelp is providing a safe and private online environment where your needs will be assessed and you'll be matched with your own licensed personal therapist.
BetterHelp isn't a crisis line, nor is it self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online, all without having to ever sit in another uncomfortable waiting room.
BetterHelp is dedicated to facilitating great therapeutic matches. Send your counselor messages at any time or schedule regular phone or video sessions. They've made it free and easy to change therapists if needed.
And you don't have to limit yourself to counselors in your area. BetterHelp services are available worldwide, so you can find the expertise you need regardless of location.
We want you to start living a happier life today. As a Going In Raw listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/raw. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health.
Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw. And before we get back to the show, let's take a quick break here to get a word in from our sponsor, Credit Karma. Hey, Larson.
Yes.
Do you feel overwhelmed when it comes to handling personal finances?
Oh, yeah, all the time, Steve.
Well, you're not the only one. Whether you're looking to refinance credit card debt or pay for an upcoming expense, Credit Karma is there to help you make those big financial decisions with more confidence.
Yeah, Credit Karma uses your credit data to show you personal loan offers that are personalized to you. It's completely free and easy to sign up for a Credit Karma account with no effect on your credit score. On Credit Karma, You can check out multiple loan offers side by side, and members who compare loan offers on Credit Karma save an average of 30% on interest rates.
Once you get your loan, Credit Karma can help you track your progress as you pay off your debt, and will even let you know if you can refinance and save. Ready to apply? Head to creditkarma.com/loan offers to see personalized offers with your approval odds right now. Go to creditkarma.com/loan offers to find the loan for you. That's creditkarma.com/loan offers. Anyways, so we've got one. There's still a go home to War Games, right? There's an episode
there's an episode next week before we get to War Games. Yeah, because that's on
but
the
5th. we got
next
of course
Wednesday's the 1st.
Last week the women's War Game match was set up. This week we got the obvious choice for the 4th member of the team faces there with Kaylee Ray. On the men's side of things, as we had speculated and seemed kind of obvious from the jump.
Yeah,
so
it did.
We're not that smart. Team 1.0 versus Team 2.0. We've got Braun Breaker, who got to shout out War Games. He got to shout that out. Grayson Waller, whose endless feud with LA Knight seems to be culminating at War Games in that match. Tony D'Angelo, which is kind of interesting, given that he hasn't been like the most prominent member of 2.0, but he's certainly been one of the buzzier aspects of 2.0 for reasons you could sort of figure out. And then, and then Carmelo Hayes, probably the standout actual wrestler.
Yeah.
Of 2.0.
It definitely seems like these are the 4 guys in the 2.0 class that management's probably the highest on right now.
Mm-hmm. And then it was also announced that the Cruiserweight champion, we'll talk about the rest of the men's War Games match in a second, but another prominent member of 2.0, Joe Gacy, is challenging for the Cruiserweight title against Roderick Strong, and they've elected to take the weight class out of it. I'm interested to get your thoughts on that. But the men's side of War Games team 1.0, DIY champion Gargano, and then Pete Dunne and LA Knight are going to be defending the honor of 1.0. The biggest question is, I firmly believe that Toxic Attraction is going to lead their team to victory on the War Games side in the women's division. Does that mean is 1.0 are they going to do like a half and half thing? How do you see both these matches, the War Games matches playing?
You know, I feel like the women's War Game match is more of a toss up. Personally, because I feel like, I mean, I don't know how many confidence points I necessarily put on it, but I feel like it's a pretty good chance if they really want to say, hey, this is NXT 2.0 now, then Team 2.0 has to win that War Games match.
On the men's or women's?
On the men's side.
On the men's side?
Yeah.
I mean, it gets Braun Breaker a win for once. I mean, over Ciampa is, big win.
You know, and it feeds in the Braun story, too, because, what's the knock on him? Experience.
Yeah.
Ciampa led him to every trap, and he followed him every instance in their title match. So now with Braun, doesn't seem to be like he's missing something from an in-ring talent perspective. It's experience. He needs to learn those little tricks, or at least learn how to counter those tricks.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this is like the first step. He's in this War Games match. It's a whole different world being in those 2 cages.
Mm-hmm.
And if he gets that win, whether it's him pinning Ciampa or somebody else, all right, that's experience under his belt. Mm-hmm. And he keeps on getting experience. So if they come back around to Ciampa versus Braun, then, guess what? Braun won't fall for those traps that Ciampa sets this time.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's NXT 2.0. You'd figure 2.0 should win. I feel like it's definitely going to go down on the side of the women, though. Toxic Attraction, I don't think they're going to pick up a loss here. But on the side of the men, yeah, I mean, maybe 2.0 is going to sweep. Where do you see the? Oh, go ahead. You look like you have
I mean, one argument I could make for because the women's War Games match isn't so much a 2.0 versus 1.0 type.
They're not.
Deal.
It's not booked as such.
No. I mean, in Mandy, she was an NXT way before 2.0. And Dakota Kai's been around for a while, and then you got Cora Jade on the face team. She's 2.0.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I think 2.0 is a state of mind, man. I think Mandy Rose is basically like the face of the women's 2.0 movement.
Yeah,
It's less about we're bringing in all these new people as this is a change in philosophy for us.
A new
Mandy
attitude.
Rose.
It's a new attitude.
But
here's the thing:
new generation.
If they want to set up Kaylee Ray as potentially Mandy's next challenger, it would make sense for her to pick up the win in War Games.
Yeah, I'll believe a Toxic Attraction loss when I see a Toxic Attraction. Although we had one last night with Cora Jade, another roll up, which was actually kind of shocking too. But yeah, what do you make of Joe Gacy and Harland against Roderick Strong for this Cruiserweight Championship? I don't know if this is going to signify some sort of change in the very nature, the fabric of the title, which they need to do.
I hope they do, because ever since Roderick has had the title, he's had feuds with a variety of people. He had a feud against Kushida, with Odyssey Jones, and now with Joe Gacy. So if the idea is to not tie the title itself to a weight division, like the X Division title, it was more about a style of wrestling as opposed to whether you're between, this weight and this weight, and I always liked that, because then you had people who were pushing the boundaries of pro wrestling, and it wasn't tied to them being less than 225 pounds. I always really appreciated that. And if they make the Cruiserweight title, whether obviously they can't call it the X Division belt, but whether if it's a technical belt, whatever, even if it's not necessarily tied to any sort of particular style of wrestling, just make it an open weight title, give it a cool name.
If they do that, is it predicated on Joe Gacy getting that title? And because he's the kind of guy who, talks a lot about change and stuff like that. I mean, doesn't he have to win this, get the title, and then declare, hey, this title is now whatever he wants to call it, open weight or whatever?
I mean, maybe, or they use this match to set the precedent that for championship defenses, both competitors don't have to be cruiserweights. Are
all these matches sort of a theme on 1.0 versus 2? Because Gacy versus Roderick Strong, I know Diamond Mine is kind of a
2.0 thing, but obviously Roddy is a 1.0 guy, yes.
And then you also have, again, 1.0 versus 2.0, Duke Hudson versus Cameron Grimes. I mean, Duke Hudson will barely look different at all if he loses his hair.
That's why he's totally going to lose that match.
He even said on the Tron, he says, I wouldn't mind taking a little bit more off the top. So he's totally happy about that.
Yeah, he's fine with that. Yeah, I mean, he'll have to shave his head. Guess what? A month later, he'll look the exact same he does now.
Exact same.
Not that huge of a deal for him.
Yeah,
I don't know about as far as the Cruiserweight title. I don't know. I'm still not sure how Harlan plays into the Joe Gacy thing. Like when he showed up, he seemingly just materialized behind Gacy in his stare down with Roderick Strong.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Which feels like lends credence to my idea that he's like that Harlan's like a Tyler Durden thing, but not exactly imaginary thing. But it's like he's supposed to represent a certain aspect of Joe Gacy's psyche, if you will.
Yeah. I keep thinking the same thing now about Trick Williams because nobody really acknowledges him that much. There's all sorts of imaginary friends in 2.0.
Maybe.
I like that. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into this. It kicked off. It was actually kind of a clever way to kick it off.
Yeah, I kind of like this too.
It was doing the then now together, whatever the hell it is now.
Then now together forever.
The opening thing, yeah. Until he release you forever. But you just hear Waller Grayson halfway through say, shut this thing down. Nobody wants to see all these has-beens. And the crowd starts booing him. He starts talking about Cena and The Rock both being dudes who were booed out of town like the people were booing Waller. And he says, but look at them now. Rock, huge Hollywood star. Cena, big Hollywood star. He says Roman Reigns got booed endlessly, and he went away. Now he's head of the table, killing the game. And he says, y'all booed him. He was like, and what that says to me is people with 3 followers on Twitter and 80,000 tweets don't matter. You people don't matter. John Cena, Roman Reigns, The Rock, Grayson Waller. He put them up there in his Mount Rushmore. He puts himself up there. And then Ciampa comes out, interrupts because they have a match. And like I mentioned, this match goes pretty long. This is like a 15-minute match. It really looked like Ciampa was doing what he could to get the most out of Grayson Waller. This looked like a match that Ciampa really wanted to have some pride in, making his opponent look like $1 million.
Yeah, and I could be wrong here, but doesn't Grayson Waller have some pro wrestling experience prior to coming to NXT? I kind of felt like he wrestled in Australia for a few years prior to NXT.
Yeah,
and it shows because of aside from Carmelo Hayes of the 2.0 guys, it seems like management's really high on. He's the smoothest in the ring. It's like him and Hayes are both really smooth in the ring. There's some creative spots. The finish I thought was wildly creative and really fun. Waller tries to do his own version of the People's Elbow. Of course, it backfires on him.
Yeah.
But the finish was great. So Waller evades a fairy tale ending, hits some knees, hits like I guess it inverted like somersault senton. So he has Ciampa up in like torture rack position. And like Sheamus does a move where he has his opponent up in fireman's carry position, does like the rolling senton on him. Well, Waller had Ciampa the opposite direction, so he's facing upwards. It was really good. Yeah, hits an elbow off the second rope, it gets him a 2, and then Waller hits a tope, puts Ciampa back in the ring, is looking for that rolling cutter he does. And as he's rolling, Ciampa rolls him up, flings him into the ropes, hits Willow's bell, and falls with a fairy tale ending for the win. I could try to describe it better than that, but it's better off if you just watch it because it was really smooth and it was really creative, and I popped for it. The more I see of Grayson Waller, I know his personality, his character is obnoxious. I think that's kind of the point. But I think from an in-ring perspective, he's growing on me.
Yeah, I think he's one of the stronger performers out of the 2.0 class. Obviously, look, 2.0 is focused on characters, and this guy has tons of TV experience, whether it's on the Australian Survivor series that they did or whatever. But yeah, no, clearly he's got a ton of charisma. I could totally see him in a Miz type role going forward. I mean, there are endless parallels I see. You mentioned in the pre-stream, I think, that you see him a little bit more. I do see him as being a little bit more clever in the ring than Miz ever was. Yeah. Because Miz sort of has the copy and paste match style.
Yeah, and I think Waller is a more creative wrestler and has a more exciting moveset.
Yeah. So anyways, Ciampa gets that win with the fairy tale ending. LA Knight is watching the match backstage. He's got an interview. He says, "You saw what happened out there. You could have he said, "Yeah, I know what you're thinking, LA Knight. You could have cost him the match." Yeah, he did that himself, though. That whole crowd's chanting Waller sucks, and that's a fact of life. And then Joe Gacy comes in, says, "Man, we should be building each other up, not tearing each other down." He's like, we should have a match. And in our match, we're going to have our safe space out there and stuff. He's like, you sound like a creep. There's one thing you can count on. That's getting your ass stomped. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we had Toxic Attraction interview as we're walking backstage. This is the cameraman interviewing them. And Mandy says Cora doesn't belong in the same ring as her. They have a match tonight. And they walk past Dakota Kai, and she just kind of joins them and walks with them because she's on their War Games team.
And she's all twitchy and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm huge on that.
Yeah, I'm not either. Mandy says, I'm not going to need any of you out there. I'm going to take out Cora Jade. And then Io and Raquel are going to have another void to fill on their War Games team. And they walk up to like a bunch of just stuff that's all over the floor. Like there's garbage can lids, stuff that's busted up. And JC Jane says, "Looks like somebody's rage room." Well, you know who that is. So they leave. And then like Kaylee Ray just appears from behind like a road case.
With a baseball bat. They have followed. So her gimmick has sort of followed her and has become your rage room person. I've never been in a rage room.
I haven't done that either.
I don't have a lot of rage in me. I know it's fun to break stuff, but I don't know.
Whenever I just had some frustration, I used to go to batting cages.
Yeah. I got the basketball hoop on the back. Do you ever do one of those escape rooms?
No, I haven't done one of those yet.
Gimmick. It's an escape room. Anyways, after that, Cameron Grimes comes out. Sad. His hair is a little bit shorter. He looks cleaner, to be honest with you.
Yeah, his beard's trimmed up and his hair's shorter. Yeah,
and he explains though that he looked like he liked looking dirty like a bum. He said, "I grew up in a small town in North Carolina, and every day I would have people telling me I'm not good enough, but I showed them I was good enough. If I scratched and clawed, didn't matter how many nights I scraped for change, so I could have something to eat. I showed them all that Cameron Grimes holds it down." He says, "Through all that, I kept this hair and this beard to remind me of my humble beginnings. to remind me of the times I was crying by myself when I had nothing. He says, Duke Hudson, you took all that away from me. You humiliated me, embarrassed me. But where you messed up is you made me angry. Duke Hudson, come to this ring right now, because Cameron Grimes is done talking. And then Duke Hudson's on the Tron. He's in a barber's chair.
He is.
Clean up here.
He's getting his hair done. And he's like, Cameron Grimes, why are you mad? He says,
he's so matter of fact, isn't he?
He is. He is very matter of fact.
Why are you mad?
Matter of fact, yes. And so he says, hey, last week you took a lot of money from me, and you got a free haircut out of it. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to transform you from a troll living under a bridge to a decent human being. And Cameron Grimes says, well, let's come out to this ring like a human being and let's settle this. And Grimes says, no, I don't think I'm going to. Sorry, not sorry. And there's like a long, awkward pause after he says that.
So I'm assuming this was pre-taped because, and then they just gave pauses in the tape, for Cameron Grimes to talk.
Do his lines,
Because after like Duke's first line, Cameron started talking, and then he just started talking again. Duke Hudson did. I was like, oh. Yeah. So they didn't really rehearse this all that much. Anyways, he said,
Grimes says, I gave you a chance to show how big your balls were, but you proved you're gutless and nutless. So you want to have big stakes? Let's have big stakes. Let's go all in. He challenges Duke to a hair versus hair match at War Games, and Duke just says, I could take a little more off the top.
Like, my hair is really short anyway.
And then he has a bag of Cameron Grimes' hair.
That's weird.
On his person.
That's weird. I don't know why you do that. He just carries around a little sandwich sack. Look, it's my friend the hair. After that, we had Pete Dunne. He's just yelling at the camera backstage. He says, I've waited too long for a shot at the North American title. Johnny, I'm going to put you out and send you packing. Carmelo, tonight I become North American champion. I paraphrased. After that, we had Persia and Indy. Indy says, they took my husband Dexter's ability to draw by, smashing his hand in the chair. So tonight, Johnny's going to take that title from Carmelo. And then Persia's like, look, if you're too distracted, you can sit this out. I can do this same as I did it last week. I got this. And he's like, no, I'm totally good. She's totally not. But before we got to that match, we had a video package for Tiffany Stratton, who seems to be some sort of rich girl gimmick. And it's like a road diary called Tiffany's Epiphanies. And she plays a lot of tennis at the country club. And her dad gives her everything. And just another 2.0 character. What's your take on this, man? What do you make about this? You a big Tiffany Stratton fan off the bat here, like rich
people? Nothing about this really appealed to me.
Yeah, Marvell says so. Just a younger version of Frankie Monet. Yeah,
nothing about this. I thought, no, not my thing.
Not into it.
No.
Maybe I'll become a huge fan of hers.
Maybe. This is one thing. This is one 45-second video package, maybe a minute.
Didn't even see her face.
No.
Yeah.
No. So who knows? Maybe they'll do more with this, but as an introductory thing, I didn't think it was that strong.
Not really into it. After that, we had Persia and Indy versus Casey and Caden. The entire time, Indy is just distracted by her wedding ring. Of course, the symbol of her fallen husband, Dexter Lumis.
Yeah.
So she just ends up eating the pin because she keeps on looking at her ring.
Yeah, she gets she eats a splash from Casey off of Caden's shoulders. Then we got a quick little Santos Escobar video package. He's back. And then we get Andre Chase. He's giving his students a tour of the Performance Center. Walks up to Cameron Grimes. He says, "Oh, this right here is a teachable moment. Never make a decision when you're angry because it'll cost you a match, or in Grimes' case, his hair and self-respect." And Grimes says, "Andre Chase, you can go to hell."
And Chase has no response to that. He's just like, "Oh, students, don't pay attention to him.
Don't listen to that."
He's thoroughly insulted. Oh man! After that, we had Santos Escobar versus Malik Blade. Was it like 3 minutes?
It's pretty short.
This was really short. Santos got the win with a Phantom Driver. Elektra Lopez gets on the mic because the rest of the Legado comes into the ring with him. She says, "No one says no to us."
It was basically the same. Sorry, it's basically the same thing she said last week.
It's exactly the same thing. She says, "We offered Zion Quinn the opportunity of a lifetime. Look what happened to him. We never needed him. Now that our leader is back, Legado is stronger than ever." And then Wild gets on the mic. He's like, "Now then," he gets interrupted immediately by Von Wagner and Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle says, we want those tag titles. Legado says, too bad we already beat you. Wagner says, hey, amigos, look at that tape, dumbass. My foot was on the rope, so we have unfinished business. Kyle O'Reilly's like, yeah, Von has a point. And oddly speaks perfect Spanish. It would have been great if Von Wagner actually would have spoke like a couple sentences of Spanish, because that joke would have been hilarious if because Kyle's delivery was pretty good. That joke would have been hilarious if Von Wagner actually busted out some Spanish.
Yeah.
Imperium shows up on the perch, and they start running down everybody down there, just being ignorant. He's like, they don't speak in a second language, and I'm like, Legado del Fantasma is clearly in the ring. There's 4 of them. They all speak 2 languages. And Spanish is pretty close to Italian, so I'm pretty sure they'd understand what you said in Italian if you did speak that. So anyways, but, I think they were kind of, pointing at the crowd more than the people in the ring, but still.
Well, I think Bartel also introduced his bit of the promo by saying everybody here is ignorant and not very educated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I once that was his open, I was like, okay, I'm taking all his insults with a grain of salt, because he kind of just said the same thing twice. Yeah,
there you go. Anyways, so he's like, Kyle, with your big friend Lurch, all of you down there fighting like children, do you think the 2 of you should challenge us? And you Legado clowns, do you think you can step up to go toe-to-toe with us? Anyway, long story short, the winner of whoever figures that out gets Imperium at War Games.
Fight amongst yourselves, and we'll face the winners,
Yeah, exactly.
Then we get Cora Jade, Zoe Stark, Io, and Raquel in the locker room. Raquel accidentally bumps into Io, and that's a huge thing. They're arguing. It's like, hey, don't think I forgot about stand deliver, so on and so forth. Cora's like, all right, I'm really going to do this can they coexist thing. It's tired. It's outdated. Again, they acknowledge it's a problem, yet instead of actually doing something about it, they just reference it.
Yeah, but okay, here's the thing about that, though. I do give NXT a bit of a pass with the references, because they, unless I'm mistaken, they don't really go hard on the can they coexist stuff, not like main roster. And I honestly think at this point, NXT is more of an HBK production as opposed to a Vince thing. And I think that it's okay if HBK is like, hey, let's talk a little bit of shit about
it's a problem, and I'll talk shit about main roster. Fair point.
Yeah.
She says, we're going to team at War Games. We need a 4th. Go find a 4th member of our team, because I'm going to go out there and kick some toxic attraction ass.
Yeah. After that, we had a Tony D'Angelo interview. And they're betting channel points on these matches, man, except it's actual money. But
that's the assumption. That's the assumption.
It could be channel points, I guess.
Could just be channel points.
He says he's got money on Carmelo Hayes. He says, hey, we could turn this gold bracelet of yours from a 1 carat into a 2 carat. Call my guy Hesh. Put the bet in, bada bing, bada boom. Back to the 3 Stooges at the desk. It was kind of funny when he said that, to be honest.
Yeah, they're all offended, trying to. Yeah. Like what Wade was saying, it was a ring announcer, and then Vic and Beth Phoenix that were the
Wade
Stooges.
Does not want to be considered a shemp.
Nope.
Big dummy.
Then next we had Mandy Rose versus Cora Jade. So Kaylee Ray comes down with her bat, starts banging the ring post, banging a laptop ringside, and then throws the bat into the ring at the ref. The ref catches it, and everybody's distracted. Cora Jade takes advantage, rolls up Mandy to get the win.
Mm-hmm. After that, we have a little promo from Trick and Mello. Trick says the disrespect stops tonight. Carmelo says he's the leader of the new school. He's like, Gargano, you've been here. This is actually a solid point. He says, Gargano, you say you've been here for 5 years. I've been here for 5 months, and look everything I've done.
He says you've been here for 5 years. Like that's a good thing.
Yeah, like that's a good thing. It's like, ooh, that's a good point. He's not on main roster shit. So he's like, you got everything to lose. He says, I don't chase you. You chase Mello. And, of course, he's going to hit. He's not going to miss when it comes to the
I like the bit where he says, done. He says we're the same age, but you got 10 years more experience. Than what's Trick say? You look like you're 40.
Look 40. Oh, Trick is. I really appreciate Trick Williams.
Yeah, I
do
too.
After that, we had another Joe Gacy promo. It's really saying a whole lot of nothing. He's like, let me go open the eyes of the blind. You see Harlan's big meat hand come to his shoulder, and he sort of embraces a little bit.
Now, when there's segments where it feels like this Gacy story is going somewhere, I can get into it maybe. At least I'll be a little more involved. But unless just this stuff where it's spinning wheels.
It's very reminiscent of Bray Wyatt. You know, like how many promos did he deliver? It's like, wow, they're good in execution, but you're saying a whole lot of nothing. And I do feel like they need to get to every promo needs to have a damn point to it.
Exactly.
Otherwise, just don't do it.
And if there's going to be a twist here, I feel like they really need to start working towards it. And that, I know that's a huge if. I like to hope there's going to be some reveal about this relationship between Harlan and Gacy, what it's all about, you know, and rather than just have him by his side for some reason, some kind of nebulous reason. Like, I want to know their backstory. I want to know why Gacy reached out to him. I want to know these things.
I'm okay with the Joe Gacy spouting these sort of cartoonish leftist terms because in my mind, you know, I'm okay with a little bit of my own headcanon. All right. I'm okay thinking to myself, okay, he's simply disingenuous. Everything about him screams a dude who's simply disingenuous. And so he's using these terms when clearly that's not his actual motive. You know, I'm fine with that. I agree with you. There definitely needs to be a bit of an origin story that is laid out so that we know what the deal here is. And I'd like to get that sooner than later. I'm not at the point where I'm like, man, I'm so over this, because I everything about these guys, I actually really appreciate the packaging. The song is awesome. There are some really good songs. There are some good, like Cora Jade has a killer entrance theme. Joe Gacy, I love his entrance theme. I think it's so fitting. But it's starting to get to the point where, yeah, we're going to need to get a little bit more here. Otherwise, he's going to get into like the bad territory of Bray Wyatt where it's like, okay, can we move on, please?
Well, I mean, it gets to the point where it's an idea more than than a character arc, you know?
Yeah. We need to understand like where they're coming from so we can understand like what their motivations are.
Exactly. And why they are aligning with each other, you know? These are kind of essential things we need to know if you're going to take the story to the next level.
Yeah.
So we get Io, Cora, and Raquel backstage. Kaylee Ray steps in and says, I'm on the team. And also, hey, there's that ladder match next week, so you get advantage. I'm going to do that too.
So White Brownie bringing us the ratings. NXT's back up with 625,000 and a 0.14 in the demo, which is on the high end of what their 2.0 is. Yeah,
they usually do.
Yeah, I mean, if 600 is their floor, that's probably not terrible. You know, we'll see where they are, 6 months ago or 6 months from now anyways.
Yeah.
After that, we had Joe Gacy it was going to be Joe Gacy versus LA Knight. Instead, LA Knight was attacked by Grayson Waller on the way out. They battle to the back. So Joe Gacy instead starts to drop a promo about how we can fix something. And Diamond Mine interrupts him. Bivens says, Joe, this match isn't happening. And so since last week you tried to steal our spotlight, how about we do it to you tonight? He says, tonight, Ivy Nile has a match, so step out of our ring. And Gacy says, I respect that Ivy has a match, but I do not have respect for the Cruiserweight champion, Roderick Strong. His name is an example of toxic masculinity, and the Cruiserweight title is an example of weight shaming. It triggers those of a certain body type. The Cruiserweight title is the division is meant to divide. And Strong says, anybody that knows me understands I fear no man. I don't care about you or weight limits. My next money match is right here. So, Bivens, let's make this happen so I can embarrass this dork. And Bivens says, at War Games, Strong's going to beat your ass. I'm going to make sure to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. And then he says, Creeds, Julius, and the other guy, Brutus, thank you, take out the trash. And as they start to step to Gacy, Harlan just quantum leaps in, and then they back off.
Yeah, Bivens says, whoa. Not today. Then we get an MSK video package. They are driving to meet the Shaman. And Nash Carter's like, man, I can't wait to chill with this guy. And Wesley's like, hey, slow down. You're going too fast. They're like, what's the speed limit? I don't know. Anyways, they end up getting pulled over. And they argue about who's going to hold that bag that they have. And so the cop knocks on the window, asks they know the speed limit is. And they're like, 35, 40. I don't know. How fast did you clock us driving? And the cop says 7 miles an hour. 7. Like you have to ride the brake to drive that slow.
Yeah, or at least just sort of let it go.
I mean, idle is like, I think it's faster than 7 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Like, if you keep your foot off the gas in the truck, I think it's faster.
I've
than
never
7,
tested that, to be honest with you. I'm not sure.
So the cop asks them to get out of the car, wants them to open up the bag for him. They're about to do that, and some car just speeds by.
Mm-hmm.
And the cop says, well, it's your lucky day. Next time, go the speed limit. So he lets them go.
This clearly references RVD and Sabu getting pulled over.
And Nash Carter is wearing a John Cena shirt.
Yeah. Which John Cena lost the title to RVD. Then RVD ended up. So what confuses me, though, so I mean, in my mind, this was clearly another RVD reference.
Yeah.
What confuses me is the 1 week when they threw in a Jeff Hardy segment. Like, I felt like they should stick to, like, RVD references. If it's clearly going to be RVD, why would they throw us off the scent 1 week and then go back to it the other week? So I don't know what they're doing here. But yeah, I mean, you'd think that the shaman's got to be RVD at this point.
You'd think so. Next, we had Ivy Nile versus Yulissa Leon. Ivy Nile was doing some fun stuff. She did push-ups, been matched, doing sit-ups.
She was doing like a sit-up while she had her like in a leg submission. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was great. She was
the
doing
crowd
push-ups
loves Ivy Nile. Like, she is really getting over just being who she is.
Mm-hmm.
This was really fun stuff. Ivy ended up getting the win, of course, over Leon, choking her out.
The Dragon Sleeper, yeah.
Yeah, then we had a quick Solo Sikoa video package. He says, NXT, the way it is now, reminds me of the streets. He said, I used to walk with the ones who were down from day one, but now I walk alone. Doesn't matter if I have someone with me. I was always by myself. So I'm here to fight anyone, old guard, new guard, the street champion of the island is what he calls himself. So there was some discord between him and his brothers, apparently. He always felt, because Jimmy and Jay, they're like twins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was like the odd man out, I guess.
Yeah.
It'd be weird having twins as a brother. It's like, man, well, you guys have each other, but I'm just a dude on the outside. I wonder if there's like legit. I wonder if that's like a legit thing for.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
The sibling of twins.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. Then we get Grizzled Young Veterans backstage. They're just walking. They bump into a dude, and of course, Zach Gibson steals his wallet.
Yeah. But then this is a clever bit of filmmaking here. He steals the wallet. Grizzled Young Veterans keep on going. We continue to follow. And then that dude who just had his wallet stolen gets sort of pushed up against a wall because Waller and Knight are still going at it. So they're still fighting.
Yeah.
After that, we had a little video package where Boa talks about Mei Ying having passed on her spirit and power. And once he's able to control it, everybody's going to fear Boa. And then he goes...
Yeah,
blows the mist.
Then we have Grizzled Young Veterans versus Briggs and Jensen. Grizzled Young Veterans ate the loss here. So Drake escapes the slam, lands on his feet, sells knee, he's faking an injury. Meanwhile, while the ref and Briggs are focused on all that, Gibson gets up at the top rope. Well, Briggs turns around, sees it, boots him off the top. Drake gets back up, tries to take advantage of that distraction, kicks Briggs, but Briggs catches the kick, and it hits like a butterfly neck breaker. He tags in Jensen. They hit high-low clotheslines to get the win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Forrest says the Lawnmowers won. Briggs and Stratton won.
I mean, it's like their whole gimmick now, Grizzled Veterans, is like, hey, look at us. We're good grifters, you know?
Well, that was the story of this match. Is they couldn't grift their way to victory.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my point.
Yeah. It was stupid.
It is stupid. It's not funny. It's not clever. It's not helping them whatsoever.
It does nothing for anybody ever. It's terrible.
It's terrible.
Agree. I used to love them. He used to have those great promos.
I know. They took everything that was good about them and they got rid of it. Just about. Then we had our main event: John Gargano versus Pete Dunne versus Carmelo Hayes. This match was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was tons of fun. You got three great workers in here. And yeah, in the end, 2.0 made their presence felt because Tony D'Angelo had all that money apparently riding on Carmelo Hayes. It looked like Pete Dunne might be getting a win here. He got he hit a bitter end on Johnny
Gargano. Yeah,
Tony D runs down, pulls Dunne off the pin, tosses him into the ring steps. Hayes hits Gargano with that awesome top top rope leg drop for the win. Waller and Knight brawl back out to the ringside area. Big brawl breaks out. We got 2.0 versus 1.0. Trick puts Johnny's hand in the chair. Hayes is about to stomp on it. Champion's music hits.
No one will survive.
He comes out with a chair. He takes out Trick. Waller, Tony D, and Hayes circle the 1.0 guys. Or they're circled by the 1.0 guys. 1.0. And Braun Breaker comes out. So Ciampa helps Gargano up. Braun Breaker comes out. And then it just yells out, War Games! And then 2.0 hits the ring, and a big brawl breaks out to end the show.
Yeah, it was a decent angle to end the show. That was pretty solid.
Yeah. No, it was a solid War Games thing, and hats off to Tony D'Angelo.
Anyways, we got some subs over here. Notorious LFG says happy Thanksgiving and happy 14 months. Any friendos going to AEW Live tonight, Chicago? Everyone be safe this holiday.
What's the CM Punk? What's the AEW preview? There's like a good Cody Island match on tonight. It's like Cody,
it's him. It's
the
Lucha Brothers, him and Pac against FTR, Malachi, and Andrade, I believe.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good match. Wolfpack for Life says, and then what's the CM Punk match? It's
him versus QT.
Oh Lord,
that's an easy win for Phil.
That is yeah. He said, Wolfpack for Life here says, someone said that any great wrestler can be given anything and they'll make it gold, regardless of bad creative. What NXT wrestlers do you see have the ability to make anything given to them gold? Carmelo Hayes has that ability.
We also got Danielson versus Colt Cabana tonight.
Oh, that'll be good.
And then Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter.
Ooh, that'll be really
good bouts
good.
There, some good bouts. Hurricane with sub. Thank you so much.
Let's see here. Dave Matushek, which team do you think, should you ever bet the outcome of the men's War Games match, should win? If you bet on I don't know, which team do you think should win in men's War Games?
Oh, it should be 2.0. Should be 2.0.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, for the future of the company, I guess should be 2.0. Johnny's leaving probably, so. But I don't know, man. You got Pete Dunne in there. Ciampa's still champion.
That's why LA Knight eats that pin, man.
You got LA Knight. I don't know. I think 1.0 should win because it just helps 2.0 down the line when they eventually sort of take over for reals. Go ahead.
They call me Keller with subs. Says happy Thanksgiving, Stephen Larson, to all the friendos out there. Remember, stretchy pants are your friend tomorrow. It's true.
Stretchy pants are my friends every day, dude.
Yeah, each and every day. Sweatpants. I might very well wear sweatpants tomorrow.
We got our good friendo's New Legacy Inc. right here in the chat asking, do you think it's a good idea to do 2 War Games matches on the same show? I'm fine with it. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I have a bigger issue when they do like 2 Hell in a Cell matches on the same show. But then at the same time, if they're good matches, they're good matches. I'm opposed to having bad matches. So like if you have good matches, I'm about it. I don't know how good the men's one's going to be because you got Tony D'Angelo in there and you got Braun Breaker in there and you got Gracie. You have like, hold on. You got Tony, you got Braun, you got Grayson Waller. I'm not sure I trust LA Knight to have a good War Games match. So like half of the people in that match, I don't necessarily trust to make a good War Games match. Now you got Ciampa and Gargano and Dunn, and if they're the ones sort of Carmelo, and if Ciampa and Gargano are like the guys sort of laying out the match because they're like the veterans or whatever, maybe it'll make for a good match. But like the matches have been too damn good in the past, you know. I like the women's one is a bit better because they're all veterans except for Cora Jade. Like they're all veterans.
Yeah. But overall, Cora, I mean, it's not like she started wrestling when she came to NXT. She has experience prior to NXT.
Yeah, sure. I don't know how long she's been wrestling, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know either. But
she's like 20,
you know.
so. But yeah, I kind of trust the women's War Games match to do crazier shit. I hope that I do not want any of those dudes getting up to going to the top.
Yeah.
Don't do any of that shit.
G-Man5 says, since it's a newer, greener wrestlers in War Games, are your expectations lower now? Do you think it'll still be a good to great match? It depends. I'm happy that they're going into these War Game matches where everybody's got stories,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And if you focus the match on telling those stories rather than doing high spots, then it could be fine, because I think for both of us, storytelling comes first when it comes to our wrestling bouts. We want good, interesting stories told.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't necessarily mean we need people jumping off the cage, it's not necessary.
I'll be honest with you. I couldn't stand when Ciampa dropped Adam Cole with an air raid crash from the top of a cage through a table. I'm like, dude, I am entertained enough. I don't need to see you take like years off your career with this one thing. I know people mark out of that. I'm an old biddy. That's what I am, dude. White Brownie says Cora Jade used to be in death matches.
Yeah, I saw some. I think on one of their. I think I saw some. Maybe it was on NXT.
Yeah,
some video package where she was. They were in a match and looked like there was glass in the ring.
If you do War Games, I just want mat-based wrestling.
There you go.
I want catch can shit.
Exactly.
Collar and elbow. Give me a strong lockup in War Games, and I'll be happy.
There you go. The whole show is one War Games match because 2 hours of lockups. White Brownie, thoughts on Jeff Hardy's proposed match? It's called the Upward Spiral match, where in the first 5 minutes of the match, the ring spins at a certain speed for a certain amount of time, and then it stops. But then every 2 minutes, the ring will spin faster and faster. Bleh.
I want to see.
Sounds like to me.
No, I don't want to see an air raid crash off the top of the cage. I want to see wrestlers thrown up in the ring.
Oh,
because that's exactly what happened.
It. Yeah.
I could spin twice in this chair and be dizzy. I get dizzy so easy these days. I go into the kitchen to get something. I turn around and go to the fridge, and I'm dizzy. That sounds terrible. I'd get dizzy just watching that.
I don't know how Cesaro does the spin and does the throw up every time. He's spinning 20 times sometimes. He's got some serious torque going because he's holding up someone that's 200 pounds plus, spin him around that ring. That's some serious velocity.
The guy getting spun. He doesn't. You got to be using your core muscles there.
I know. Here's the thing: the person who spun, like they get to sell it afterwards. So they can close their eyes and get their shit back together.
You're right.
But Cesaro usually goes right to a sharpshooter. He goes right to a sharpshooter. How is he not just falling over and vomiting to the floor? That's my question. Because that would be me. Try to put a sharpshooter on and be all wobbling around like I had a case of beer.
We should get together one day and try that. Do a spin.
I don't think either of us could do that.
Try to do a spin. Do like 20 spins and then try to put the other guy in a sharpshooter.
I wouldn't get 5 through before I started feeling nauseous.
Like not even try to spin the other guy. Just you stand there, you spin 20 times and then try to put me in a sharpshooter. Because we couldn't. We would not be able to handle a spin.
No.
But like just one of us spins around 20 times and then tries to put somebody in a sharpshooter.
Man. Yeah, I'll totally throw it.
Have some Alfredo right before.
Oh, gosh. Some potato salad, huh?
Yeah.
Frederick the Dino says, I think an interesting point of discussion is that NXT UK is also an HBK production, I believe. If that's true, then I wonder what's going on for both NXTs to feel as different as they do. I'm sure it's just a directive for NXT 2.0. This is what we want it to be. And so they try their best to make it that, whereas UK feels like a throwback to NXT 1.0. I'm just guessing there's not that same directive when it comes to UK.
Oh, wow. Sup John says, it's 15 months into the future. Vince decides to launch NXT 3.0. What are the new colors of NXT? So the natural evolution from what we have now is just all the colors combined into one. So I forget, is that white or black? Isn't like there a light theory?
Light, if it's light, then it's white.
Yeah.
Take all the entire spectrum of light and put it together. It's white light. But if it's colors, if you mix all the colors together, you get like a really dark brown or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you do. It's just New Legacy says NXT 3.0 is just pure black, and Brian Cage is the new champion. Man, that household maybe needs to ease up a little bit on talking about his career. Because I just don't know. I know as a wife, because you saw that she had an interview with Van Vliet.
Yeah.
You know, They need to fucking use him. That's going to be, there it is. They just added another 2 weeks of him not being used.
I know. That's kind of what it feels like, huh?
Tony Khan got out his spreadsheet of Brian Cage. How much longer am I going to keep him off TV? Oh, she used the F word and said I need to use him. All right, I'm going to add another 3 weeks of that one. So now we're looking at according to all this time saved up, Brian Cage will come back middle of May of 2023.
Telling you, have him start a tag team with like Lance Archer.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Give him a little bit of a repackage.
Yeah.
Have him be in a tag team with Lance Archer.
Yeah.
Just wrecking fools. Have Jake do the talking, and like Lance Archer could talk too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All Brian Cage has to go do is go out there, look mean, and wreck people. That's all he has to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, they're still talking about how I'll miss you. And at this point, he's not even being misused. He's being
unused.
You have to be used to be misused.
I know. It's unused at this point.
Oh, man. Oh, goodness. Anyways. Hey, you know what? That's great. Be outspoken about your significant other. But see where it gets you. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We're going to be back tonight for our AEW recap at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully you'll join us there on the Twitch. If not, we'll be later on podcast apps right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.